And we are live. Kia ora, everyone. My name is Zach. Welcome back to Hakatime Rugby. Special guest today during the live stream. We've got Don from Unbiased Rugby. Hey, Don, how you doing?
Thanks, Zach. Thanks for having me. No, doing well. Doing very, very well. I think we're stage 3 of lockdown here, so it's getting better.
Good. Excellent. Well, I did hear a few weeks ago that opened up the beer shop, so you could go down and buy a bit of beer and
it was
enjoy lockdown a bit more.
No, 2-3 weeks ago that everything was opened up, but still can't smoke. Not that I smoke, but so.
And did you catch the games last week?
Yeah, I did. I actually the Saturday game I think I missed a bit of it, but I watched the whole of the Sunday game. I think it was the Blues Hurricanes.
Blues Hurricanes, yeah.
Yeah, I was super impressed with the Blues. I just thought, what a turnaround! It's amazing having Bowden Barrett, having Dan Carter on the bench. Seems like they've got good coaching at the moment. I think everything's in their favour.
Yeah, they just had a really good balance between forwards and backs, I thought. They finally got a bit of grunt up front. They've always had talent in the back line, but they just seem to be bringing it all together. I mean, they seem to... I was going to say they seem to dominate set piece, but especially first half, scrum and line-out was operating really, really well. And then, probably a few issues with discipline, I thought, in the first half. I think the penalty count at half-time was nine penalties against the Blues, 3 against the Hurricanes. So, but they managed to correct that and look really good in the end.
Yeah, I also felt with the Hurricanes, I just felt that they lost the ref in the second half. I thought TJ Perinara was a bit too mouthy. He can be at times.
Yeah, there's that into the game at the moment, isn't it? I've seen a few examples, like you say, of him just starting to get a little bit mouthy.
I've been going through the rules, and I actually got the original rules from the rugby school. The original rules before the official rules, and it actually states there in the rules that only the captain and 1 or 2 of his subs are allowed to speak to the ref. That's it.
And do they nominate them before the game, as in the subs that can speak to the ref, or is there a
I think they do. And then almost everything was actually decided by the captains. So if they were going to have a scrum, then it was decided by the captain. So it was very, very interesting going through all the reading of the original laws. Very interesting.
Well, maybe a bit of bedtime reading for myself. It's fun to think you know the laws of rugby because you watched it all your life, but there's probably some hidden obscure rules that would surprise people.
Yeah, it was very, very strange when I was going through it. Like, I've always known there was a drop goal and a place kick, but I always thought a punt was part of American rules. But it actually is part of the rules of rugby. So I was also pleasantly surprised that they actually have a punt rule as well. So it was very interesting.
And what do you think about this game now? So Blues looked very good last week. As for the Chiefs, what did you think about their performance last week?
I thought it was... Did the Chiefs win? No, they didn't.
No, they lost by 1 with the last Bryn Gatlin drop goal that snuck it away.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't think they're firing yet. I think they've got the firepower to be able to take on any of the sides. I picked the Chiefs at the start of the season as my team to watch. I thought they would. I've got the team here in front of me.
Yep. We'll share it very shortly, I think.
I just think missing Sam Cane is probably a big thing at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. There's a bit of leadership there.
From a breakdown point of view, from a leadership point of view, they have a few leaders, but I'm looking at it like they didn't have Aaron Cruden last week. So I think I thought they went into that game thinking they were going to win.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of complacency around that performance, I thought, as well. So last week I went through as part of watching both of the games, and I've decided to run a little MVP vote, a little game by game where I allocate 3 points to the best performer, 2 to the next best, and 1 to the third best performer. And I'm going to keep a record of that at the very, very end of the season. We'll have an MVP decided for Super Rugby Aotearoa. Yeah. So I got a bit of feedback last week on who the viewers thought were some of the contenders there, and we've sort of come up with this list as part of the live streams that I did last week. So last week we thought Aotearoa Black there for the Blues, their number 10, was probably their best performer.
I thought so too.
Caleb Clark, the winger, had a great game, looked pretty dangerous there. And Hopkins Tutu there at number 8.
Yeah.
For
but
3.
I thought Aotearoa Black had an absolute blinder of a game.
Yeah.
It's so nice to have a weapon like Bolan Barrett at 15 and not have to use it.
Well, exactly. You can actually put him there in 15 and be comfortable with the 10. And how good would it be for Aotearoa Black having someone like Dan Carter there running the water, giving a bit of advice, bringing out the tee.
No, you're not going to. He must be. Dan Carter must be up for goat of the.
Oh.
He has to be. I personally don't think he's the goat, but he must be in the top in the conversation.
Yeah, he's right up there for me. I'd probably agree with you. I don't think he's number 1, but he's number 1, 2, or 3, and most people will probably interchange some of those names. Who
is your goat?
I'm a big Richie McCaw fan.
So
purely on leadership cap. I know there'd be question marks about performance, but purely on leadership capabilities, on service to the All Blacks jersey, on what it means to be an All Black. Those things all rank really, really high for me. So for me, it's Richie McCaw. There's probably no better example of an All Black than Richie McCaw.
I just think there's no better example of a pure rugby player. My personal opinion is Richie McCaw. I thought he was the GOAT for a long, long time. You knew when to cheat and get away with it.
It's part of the game. Okay, so let's have a look at the team lists while we've got this up. So I'll bring them up just here. So we'll start off with the Chiefs. So we've got Samisoni Takeaho is one guy that's really stood out for me. I mean, he's a young guy, he's raw, but he does have some ability there. Nicola Lala, he's obviously All Black. They're a little bit light in the locks. If we could identify one area that they probably have some concerns. Good promise here, I'd describe in the loose forwards.
I've liked Luke Jacobson for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously made the All Blacks last year and was in the World Cup squad. Unfortunately got injured there, but good to see him back. Lachlan Boshier, good player. Very good jackal, so we'll see how he goes. And then good move bringing Cruden in to start.
I think playing the dual playmaker, they have to do it. They have to play the dual playmaker.
Exactly. And they just found more direction when he came on.
Yeah.
A bit more settled. You need that experience. And the rest of the team, pretty good. So McKenzie, obviously, there at the back. Wainui's a solid guy. ALB, we know. Quintupai, an up-and-comer. So, I mean, good backline. I think a lot better for Aaron Cruden being there.
I think with them being serviced from Brad Weber and having Anton Leonard-Brown outside of him doing the calls and stuff like that, I think he's going to be so comfortable and relaxed, Aaron Cruden. I just think when you're surrounded by really good players, your game just improves. And I like Brad Weber. I've thought he the nicest thing about Brad Weber was he actually went to the All Blacks coaches and said, "Listen, what do I need to do?"
Yeah.
So
I'm a mature player for sure. They can have that conversation. All right, let's jump over to the Blues. So not too many changes. You got Hodgman, Parsons, and Tu'ungafasi now. Tu'ungafasi played really well last week, I thought.
Yeah. They were I rate him as a tight head.
Yeah, me too. I think they were probably, and he can play both tight and loose, surprisingly, and at a high level. So, he'll be in the All Black for sure. He started very, very well last week. But there's probably 3 guys in this forward pack that I thought really stood out and provided that go forward and platform. Tu'ungafasi, Tui Pelotu, the captain, and Hopkins Tutu.
Yeah, he's awesome. I thought that Hopkins Tutu had a blinder of a game. I just thought it was absolutely amazing. I just think that the trio that they've got there on the field today, that's a deadly trio. And I'm so glad I'm seeing Akira Ioane playing blindside. I just think when I saw the team sheet, I thought, actually that makes a lot more sense than him being at 8.
Yeah, I think he came in out of lockdown just slightly behind the pace a little bit, so they wanted to give him that extra week.
Okay.
But good to see him there now.
And I've always rated Dalton Papali. I think he's a real player for the future. He's got enough mongrel in him to be the number 7.
That's right. And with spots available in the All Blacks right now, especially in the loose forwards, good to see a guy like Hoskins Tutu standing out.
Exactly.
Over to the backs. So where do you want to start here? We spoke about Aotearoa Black. Caleb Clark was one guy that really surprised me. Well, not surprised, but he had a great game.
Yeah, I was more impressed with Rico Ioane. I didn't think he would. I didn't think he would transition that well to being outside centre, and I think he really had it. He's really getting into it. Don't really like the blonde hair, but that's just a personal preference.
Yeah, there's something going through the Blues at the moment. There's blonde hair, there's pink hair, there's terrible haircut choices, there's mullets going on, there's all sorts. So.
Yeah, it's lockdown madness.
That's right. But I thought both sides of the field here, Caleb Clark on one side and Mark Talia on the other side, very dangerous. Both of them, when they got their opportunities, were able to break tackles and put some pressure on the back line defence there.
Looking at the two back lines, I think the Blues have some standout players, like some serious X factor players. But I think on the Chiefs side, I think it's a little bit more balanced across the whole back line. And on the other side, I think there's some novices, there's some X factor players. So I think it's interesting. It's going to be very interesting.
Right. I think there's probably a bit more X factor on the right side, I see, but a bit more stability on the left side. That's how you probably categorised it. So yeah, I'd agree with that. But how much of a luxury that, of all the names that really stood out last week, we didn't have to mention Beauden Barrett too much. I mean, he wasn't the guy that really sort of pulled it all together that they relied on to get some go forward. So good that they've got other options there.
It must be so nice. The guy, Beauden Barrett is just a phenomenal player. He can't be World Rugby Player of the Year 2 years in a row. And,
exactly.
And to be able to be given that freedom and not have to worry, good grief. I feel for Damian McKenzie because he was probably the heir incumbent to Ben Smith at some point. But now with Beauden Barrett moving to 15, I think it's going to be hard for Damian to kick him out of that position.
There's some other young guys coming in as well who will be slightly behind or equal to McKenzie right now. So there's a lot of competition for even the reserve spot. All right, we'll get to score predictions in a bit. But yeah, Freddie is correct. Let's have a chat about the benches. See if there's anything here that really stands out to you. Here's a name to pull out: Adam Thompson, former All Black number 6, back from Japan. Slots into the Chiefs here.
It feels, I must admit, I'm looking at this team sheet and like most of the players I don't know. I'm feeling like I'm really lost.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, I would describe probably Solomon Aleimalo was very, very good. Caleb Trask, sort of solid, can run them around the park. Adam Thompson, I'm interested in how he'll go. I was a big fan of his when he was in the All Blacks. But outside of that, I mean, I'd describe them as solid workman-like bench here on the left. Not too much X factor standing out, except for.
Asking your opinion. Do you think they're more journey kind of men, or do you think they're young guns coming through?
Probably. Well, there's a bit of both. I mean, Adam Thompson, you'd sort of slot into that journeyman, but I guess my point is that there's not a huge amount of depth here.
Yeah.
You've got some youth and you've got some workmen, but you don't have any real firepower off the bench there. That's how I see that side.
So maybe they've got to score their points in the first 60 minutes and try to survive till the end.
Yeah. And on the other side, Matt Duffy, an experienced campaigner, good player. Finlay Christie, good. Harry Plummer, good. I mean, they're solid here on the side of the Blues.
Yeah.
So, but I think both teams are really stacked their starters. There's a bit here, but not a huge amount, I think. So.
I was doing I know we're not talking about predictions. We'll talk about it just now. So, but I think a lot's gonna come down to home field advantage. I still think that's a big thing, especially with the crowds that are coming out now at the moment. I'm hoping that there's a similar kind of crowds to Eden Park. That was phenomenal last week.
Yeah, I think they were just under a sellout here in Hamilton this weekend, so they're not far off.
It's amazing to actually watch a Super Rugby game that has a full stadium. We haven't seen that.
Nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's nice to get that atmosphere back. I mean, standouts for me last week in both games. Hometown advantage seems to be a big factor, but also how the ref is adjudicating and interpreting the breakdown. That's another big factor because most of the penalties were coming straight out of the breakdown. So really, if you look at this battle, a lot of it is going to come down to 6, 7, and 8.
I think so too. I think with the new rules, there was bound to be a lot of penalties, but 60 penalties over 2 games is a bit high. But especially with the new breakdown rules, I didn't think it impacted the game so much. But yes, it did become a bit stop-start. I was more interested in because I think they're officiating the offside a little bit different as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I think they have to become a lot stricter on the offside, especially with rush defence. But the breakdowns just seemed, it were very, very strict on it. But I think they're going to be like that for the first couple of weeks and then start tapering off a little bit.
I think there's a bit of pressure on the refs as well, even up to week 1. So we might even see the refs make some adjustments. But I just think when I think to what surprised me about the breakdown penalties last week, a lot of them were for coming in on the side. Yes. I thought, okay, well, the interpretation and length of time you can hold the ball, that's changed a little bit. But it just seemed like a lot of them were for sideways entries. And I just thought, okay, that hasn't changed too much. So why are we, why are we giving away those penalties? Is it just a sign of post-lockdown, getting back into the swing of it, or wasn't really sure why that was coming up?
That's just pure discipline. That's not dealing with the new rules. But yeah, you're right. I did see a lot of them. But the one almost came from the other side. So, not even going through the opponent's gate. So
well, that's right. So that's it. So the breakdown's going to be a big battle, and also hometown advantage. So far, we've seen that plays a part. So based on the teams you've seen, let's give a prediction, Don. Let's put you on spot.
I actually put the Chiefs to win.
Ooh, what's your rationale? What are the decisive factors?
I think they had a wake-up call last week. I think they really did have a wake-up call last week. I think home field advantage, and I still think Gatlin is. I think he's got something cooking at the moment. I think he's come with a very experienced kind of squad. I just had a feeling that the Chiefs would bounce back this week. I think home field advantage is going to play the biggest part in this new Super Rugby.
Yeah. No, we spoke about that last week. I think it's going to be a huge factor as well. Especially, there's a lot to like about the Chiefs here. I mean, they do have a world-class 3 here, loose forward trio. Aaron Cruden slotting in there as well. They looked so much better with him at the helm last week.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things about the Blues that really impressed me last week. The fact they're not relying on Bowden Barrett. The fact they've got X Factor across the track. Aotearoa Black's playing well. I like this trio in the loose sports, but I think the Chiefs probably have the upper hand slightly in the loose. But overall, the one thing that really impressed me about the Blues last week was their adjustment from first half to second half.
Yes.
So they were it was 9-3 penalty count against them, and the game was still close. They corrected that and were able to put points on. Yeah. So I just think we're seeing a maturing Blues squad.
Who's the captain for the Chiefs?
For the Chiefs, good question. Who was the captain this week?
Let me have a look here.
That's a good question. Is it Ross?
Doesn't even say on the team sheet.
No, let me have a look.
Brad Webber's the captain.
Brad Webber, yeah, that makes sense.
That does make a lot of sense.
And Tui Pelotu for the Blues.
Yeah, I think he's really put up his hand for an All Black position. He really has been. He has to put up his hand. Yeah.
Well, I think he might even push. I mean, it's a bit of a disrupted year this year, so you probably won't see Brodie there. Sam Whitelock's still in New Zealand. Scott Barrett's in New Zealand. Patrick Tuipulotu in New Zealand. I like Patrick Tuipulotu to be one of them.
I really do think so. I think they've. Sorry, I've just forgotten the guy's name. You just mentioned him right now, man. Barrett's brother.
Scott Barrett.
Scott. Look, I like Scott when he came onto the scene, but he just seems to have tapered off a little bit. I think moving him to the blind side was a good idea, just the wrong time to pull the trigger.
I agree. it put him under a lot of pressure. And I
Just
wonder,
the wrong kind of pressure.
yeah, exactly right. I really like Patrick Tupolotu, and even last year we saw a real evolution of his game. This year he's now captain of the Blues. It's just an upward trajectory for him, and I think he's going to play a big part today. But I also think he's probably one of the top 2 or 3 locks in New Zealand right now.
I fully agree. I just think he really has put up his hand. But I think the Chiefs are also missing their props at the moment.
They're missing a couple of guys.
Who's that one prop? I'm so bad with names at the moment.
Angus Carval, they're missing.
Yeah. So I think I really like him. He's quite wouldn't say he's quite, not saying props aren't intelligent, but he's quite an intelligent rugby player.
Yeah. He's a bit more articulate, a bit more well-spoken as well. I think he hosts a few interviews from time to time. He's good for a bit of banter. All right, what about in the comments? Why don't you guys let me know who you're predicting to win this game today? We've got Johnny Blazer saying the Chiefs. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm interested in the performances of the refs this week as well, because there was a lot of criticism.
Who do you think, Zach?
Who do I think will win? The Blues.
Yeah.
I said the Blues. Yeah. I just think, as I say, I just think they've got a bit better balance. I like that improvement from first half to second half last week. I just think we're seeing a maturing of the Blues. So that's my prediction. Blues in a close one. Blues by 4.
Okay, I think in my Super Brew I put Chiefs by 6. So I think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game.
Yep.
I think the rules lend itself to have a more open style attacking kind of rugby. So I just think, and plus with so many playmakers on the field at the moment, I think there's bound to be tries.
Yeah. What did you think of the on the topic of the Chiefs and Warren Gatland? What did you think about young Bryn Gatland stealing it away from the old man last week?
Yeah, I'm sure he was perplexed. I think he was a bit confused on was he happy or was he sad? I think it's a hard one.
Well, apparently he kept it late because he wasn't in the team early on. It was injury cover that Bryn Gatland came in to cover on the bench. So he didn't really let the cat out of the bag until the very last minute to the old man. There's a bit of gamesmanship going on in the Gatland household.
Very interesting Sunday lunch.
Yeah,
but that's how you win games. At the end of the day, the score gets remembered for history, and that's about it. So
that's right. Well, the other thing is, what did you think of the increased focus on drop goals last week? You had 2 in both games, 2 attempts in both games.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because 2 years ago, you could have paid me $1 million and I would have said no one would have drop kicked ever. So it was interesting to see 2. I think with the golden point, because I was reading up this week, I thought it was more to do with rush defense, but then starting thinking about it, it's actually more to do with the golden point.
That's right.
And I think that's what it's going to come down to. And you just look what Bryn did last week. It's essentially exactly that. You get your golden point in extra time, done. You win the game. So I think with especially the teams are actually quite close in the New Zealand conference. They always have been, and the games have always been tight. So I think the golden point's perfect for New Zealand rugby. I just think it's the right way to go.
Well, it's definitely seen a change. I mean, I've read some of the reports of teams doing simulated golden point sessions. I mean, you've got to with that rule in play. So a lot of them are putting a heavy focus on the drop goal. So I really think that's going to influence All Blacks rugby as well.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I'm not saying that the All Blacks do kick a lot. They do. It is part of their, but tactical kicking. Kicking from your own half to make sure that you get over the halfway line. Make sure you're getting in close up into the 22 and then doing a drop goal. That's been in the DNA of some other teams. I can think of the Springboks have been like that in the past. And I think it's going to happen because maybe this golden point is going to be a really good idea going forward for a lot of games.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to see a real shift in New Zealand rugby. I think at least that option is going to be a bit more safe. Because I mean, there's definitely been criticism in the past that you put the All Blacks under pressure, they lack a bit of a plan B. So at least that helps to sort of keep things in check and possibly swing some momentum. So let's see. It's been one of those things that's been missing a little bit from All Blacks rugby, I think. Dan Carter was one guy that could drop goal late in the career, but
Exactly.
outside of that, not too many.
But even what was nice about last week's 2 games, even though we had all these rule changes about trying to be a bit more attacking, being more controlled at the breakdown, watching the offside rules, it still showed that having a good set piece, lineouts and scrums is still an important part of the game.
Well, the rolling wall for the Highlanders was a huge weapon last week.
Yeah.
First try came off that, second try was set up off that. It's just, we're still seeing that platform domination as a focus, which is great.
Because a lot of the pundits out there were talking about, the death of the set piece and a lot of those kind of things. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised that it actually wasn't.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it was good to see some good open running rugby as well. But the games just seemed to be really well balanced for me. And that there was enough attacking stuff. There was enough, competition at the breakdown. There was enough competition there in set piece. It was just, good rugby.
No, fully, absolutely, 100% agree. Look, I was fairly concerned with some of the rules. Obviously, I have my own allegiances to specific national sides, and my national side is pretty big on defence as opposed to attack. Attack on defence, and so I was quite concerned that a lot of the rules that were coming in were more based around attack, but in actual fact, it actually made the game a lot more interesting.
Yeah, agree. Okay, so you say Chiefs, I say Blues. We've got a pretty split squad here in the comments as well. Brother Alif says the Blues. Freddie says Chiefs because of hometown advantage. Johnny says Chiefs. Surely Jordan Clark's got a prediction here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, looks like teams are coming out. I'll just, as we're watching, I'll just throw some comments out as certain events are coming. But
I might step out. I've got to watch it on my big screen. I can't watch it on a small screen over here. That's just dangerous. So I'll pop. It's okay. I'll just pop in again at halftime, and we can just chat about the half.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, Zach. Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone for being here, and I'll see you shortly.
Thanks for joining the preview show, Don. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon. And now it looks like game is getting on. The Chiefs are in their huddle getting set up. What do you guys think about tomorrow night's game as well? Any thoughts on how the Crusaders will go? I've been watching a little bit of their preseason build-up, and they've been doing a lot of simulated games and a lot of hard work going on there. They probably look like, they've got a great squad, obviously. So let's see how they go tomorrow. Reiko Ioane with the blonde hair. Akira Ioane with the pink hair. What is it with the hair, boys? Everyone's coming out of lockdown with the blonde hair. Yeah, this Blues squad to me just looks like a very well balanced squad. I just think they've got all the goods across the park, and even Beauden Barrett wasn't too much of a factor last week. They were able to get home largely without him and his usual high influence. So let me just slide this across. Better reflecting like that will do. Yeah, I just thought they were able to get a lot out of it without having to rely on Barrett. And even a guy like Caleb Clark, to see Caleb Clark and Mark Talia leaving, keeping Joe Marchant out of the squad, the Blues squad, that's a big statement. Joe Marchant, obviously English international as well. So, all right, kickoff. So those that are tuning in, or if you're watching this in the future, I'm at 10 seconds into the game. Chiefs have got the ball just outside their 22, kicking things off. Tomorrow's game will be great, Freddie. I think, first look at the Crusaders, as I say. Hurricanes probably need to pull it back a little bit. Oh, good retake here from Sean Wainui. The Chiefs put the up and under, regathered on the halfway line. McKenzie's got the ball. Oh, charge down kick. The Blues have it in the Chiefs' half. And they're rummaging up here. Good meters to start off with the Blues. But penalty given, falling over the top. Chiefs get the penalty in their first half. Yeah, I think and they're taking the kick to touch, obviously. So I think tomorrow's game, the Hurricanes, they looked flat last week. I mean, their attack was flat. It may have been that it was difficult to play in front of a full Blues crowd last week. Maybe it's slow coming out of lockdown. Maybe it's slow adjusting to new rules. But they just looked a little bit flat. To their credit, they were able to keep that game close. So I think they'll have something to prove in front of their own home crowd. But they've got a tough one because they're up against the Crusaders, 4-time champs in a row, I guess, and they're going to be very, very difficult to beat because they are absolutely stacked across the field as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. All right, we've got first line out of the game in the Blues half, about their 40-meter line. Okay, they've gone short in front of the line out. Trouble. And Akira Ioane-Strong was able to hold him up and force him out. So probably a poor option there in the end from the Chiefs to go short from the line out. Now the Blues have it pretty much outside the 22, throwing into the line out. Taken by Tuipulotu, no problem, setting up the maul. Yeah, good strong maul. And solid line out too. Last week they had a really solid set piece, I thought, the Blues. Good maul. 10, 15 meters here. Okay, they're going down the back line all to their back, fires out to Barrett. Barrett's under a bit of pressure, but gets the ball out. Chiefs have got it in field. Damian McKenzie's attacking. Chiefs attacking here pretty much on the 40-meter line of the Blues, in the Blues half. Yeah, just a bit of an arm wrestle here in the midfield here. McKenzie playing first receiver there. Good little kick in the back there, finds space from McKenzie. Jason Yang, hello. How you doing, brother? Okay, Chiefs are hot on attack now. Got the ball inside the 22 of the Blues. TJ Perinara, he should be playing for the Hurricanes next week, I would think. If he's not on the team sheets, I'd be very surprised. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Hurricane squad for next week. Bowden Barrett is playing, Jason. He's 15 for the Blues. They managed to... Okay, they've just kicked from their own half here. So the Chiefs are putting them under real pressure. Oh, TJ's here, Freddie. He's playing. So the Chiefs are hot on attack. They knock it on. They won't be happy with that. So look, the Chiefs are making some good attacking start here. They've made a few breaks. Blue scramble defense is working well, but Sean Wainui able to make a few telling breaks here. Straight up the middle. Let's see, big call. Mills Muliaino already saying that the Chiefs look like they're looking for something special. Okay, it's raining pretty heavy there in Hamilton as well, so be interesting to see the impact that has on the game. But I think if anything, it probably favours the Blues. But it's all Chiefs at the moment. 5 minutes into the game. Blues for the win. Let's go. I agree, Jordan. I think the Blues will win this one. Yeah, the Blues list for trio huge. Hoskins to 2-2 off the back. The Chiefs are inside their own. Sorry, the Blues are inside their own 22, but attacking. Looks like they'll clear this. Knock out to Aotearoa Black, clears it out. Yeah, good clearance. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. The Blues contested well last week against the Hurricanes, and they've won one tonight as well. You know what? I've just realised I wasn't watching live. It's actually 17 minutes in. Blues 7, Chiefs 3. So we've just fast forwarded 10 minutes. Blues are on attack. Jason wants Blues to win. Don't kick your sofa, Jason. Most underrated player in Super Rugby, in my opinion. Oh, good question. Who's the most underrated player in Super Rugby? See, it would have been easier to say that, to answer that in previous years, but Braden Ennor. I think the most underrated players probably come from the Crusaders. I think a guy like Braden Ennor is ready for the step up. I think a guy like David Havili, he probably should have had more, but probably the most underrated player in Super Rugby, I would say, is Ben Lamb. David Havili, I thought David Havili, Jordan, but I just think he's about to enter into All Blacks rugby and about to be a mainstay there. I actually think someone like Ben Lamb is a guy who's probably, well, he's missed his opportunity despite being a good player and continues to play well. So, yeah, I mean, David Havili, Ben Lamb, anyone else that really stands out? But David Havili is you'll see it tomorrow. I think he's going to do very well in the Super Rugby season. Yep, Ben Lamb is leaving France, that's right. All right, Chiefs have got a penalty right out in front, just outside the 22. For those following along, I'm at 19 minutes and 20 seconds. Let me just make sure I'm live here. Yeah. And it's another penalty attempt for Damien McKenzie. That's really important. We want you to look at this. Look, the Blues line-out is looking very, very good. So they managed to poach that line out there. But it was a breakdown where they were able to win the penalty, the Chiefs. And McKenzie's taking the kick. I mean, it's a lot of rain, but he's 35 out with right out in front pretty much, so he should be able to get this one. Who do you think? I think the Blues are going to win, Jason. I just think they are a lot more well-balanced this year than they've been in a long time, but their set piece in particular and their forwards, I think, are better than previous years. So 7-6 here to the Chiefs. Let's get the scores up to date here. 7-6 To the Blues, sorry. Okay, let's see what's happening here. So, restart Blues. Ball is just outside the 22. Oh, it's a use it or lose it situation here. The Maul defense. Okay, they got a little bit to go forward. Oh, they get the penalty of the Chiefs. Who's standing out for you guys so far? 20 minutes into the game. Who do you think is, if anyone, is standing out at this point? I think it's just a bit of an arm wrestle, the way it looks. Just looks like a bit of an arm wrestle. Tuipulotu gave away a penalty there. So let's see. Okay, Cruden with the long touch finder. See, he's that's a great kick. Really good. He's able to get 45, 40 meters on that kick. Touch finder. Okay, Chiefs line out. Now the Blues line out's been very, very good, but they're in defensive position here inside their 22. Okay, Blues do not contest the line out, so the Chiefs have it. But look, the Maul defense is pretty good here from the Blues. Score is Blues ahead by 1, 7 points to 6. But the Chiefs hot on attack here. The Maul is going well. They've got the penalty. They're about 7 meters outside the away from the line, and they've got a bit of momentum. Blues are holding them up though, keeping them back. They're right on the 5 meter line here. But the defense is looking pretty good from the Blues. Really good, actually. And they've been able to hold them up a bit. Okay, penalty. So the Chiefs have got it. Penalty. Oh, the ref is not happy. So the ref's talking to Patrick Tuipulotu. Aotearoa Black is playing, yes. The only thing is it's a bit neutralised in this game so far. I mean, there's a lot of defensive work more than anything for the Blues. The Chiefs have had all the run the last 5-10 minutes. So, all right, so refs just said to Patrick Tuipulotu, we're 23 minutes and 21 seconds in for anyone watching along. But the refs just said another infringement, and it's a card. So Tuipulotu's just briefing the team. I really like seeing Patrick Tuipulotu in a leadership role. I think he's he's a lead from the front kind of guy, and I think we're starting to see the best of him as well. Last year, obviously, he played well in a few of those All Blacks games, but this year, I think we're seeing the best. All right, guys, so the Chiefs are setting up a line out 5 meters away from the Blues try line. So I don't think the Blues will contest this. It's going to be Maul defense needed here. Oh, they do contest. Okay, the Blues got it. It was an overthrow that went out the back. The Blues were able to scramble and catch the ball. So they'll just want to get out of trouble here. Look, it's all no cards yet, Jason. It's all the Chiefs here at the moment. So I think they've started well. More than anything, though, it's good to see that the Chiefs are the Blues are keeping them out. I think that's really, really good to see. I predicted the Blues before this game. And this is sort of proving it to me. They're just showing a real maturing. They're a lot more mature now than they have been in previous years, and I really like seeing it. I think they can be dangerous with this approach, with this good balance and cooler heads that they've got now. Oh, he loses it. There was a break there from the Chiefs. The Blues clear out of the 22, and they found wide open space there in the back there. Damien McKenzie picks it up in his own half, up and under. Contestable ball. Oh, lost forward. Right on halfway, so the Chiefs will get the ball on halfway. That up and under option now is becoming a real weapon for teams. That sort of put the ball high in the air, just make it land around the halfway line, try and contest it, win the ball back. It's been a shift in world rugby the last couple of years, for sure, and something we just saw there from Cruden. David Hill, former Marlborough Boys College first 15 player. Just listening to what the coaches have to say here. Okay, it's interesting. So the coach just said their game plan, one of the game plans, David Hill, one of the assistant coaches, is saying one of the game plans is to go straight up the middle. I think they've seen something there defensively in the Blues, and they think they can exploit it there out the ruck or up the middle. Okay, so the Blues have gone back to last week's issues. It's 8-1 penalty count at the moment. Oh, Johnny, you the man, bro. Cheers to you, brother. Appreciate it, brother. The turnover, clean turnover. All right, let's check these stats because I think that's a real. So another penalty against the Blues. And that's turnover from Lachlan Boshier as well. So I'm going to bring up the match stats now, guys, because this is getting out of hand, I think. Let me bring these match stats up. So one try Blues, all the meters with the Chiefs, all the carries with the Chiefs. Yeah, all of the attacking stats here with the Chiefs. So clear possession advantage here for the Chiefs. Turnovers conceded. So that's a clear sign that the loose forward trio here for the Chiefs are getting the upper hand. Right, so the Canes versus Crusaders is being played in Wellington. So it's Hurricanes territory. Defensively, the Blues are putting in all the work on defense. So this is very much telling the tale that the Chiefs are dominating at the breakdown and have all the ball right now. Boshier to overtake AB's captain as bench player. I like Boshier a lot, bro. The only thing I'll say about Lachlan Boshier is that he needs to improve his running game a little bit if he wants to be at the top level. I just think his hands let him down a little bit. He's not one of those guys that can really carry the ball that well, particularly at international level. Oh, what a kick. No, he's just out. So Damien McKenzie just misses a penalty goal there from halfway. Lachlan Boshier, he just needs to show me that he can, he can be a threat with the ball in hand, because you don't want that player that's there just for the turnover. Although it's proving very effective here. Kicking stats are pretty even. Penalty goals 3-0. That's mainly because the Chiefs are getting all of the penalties. Breakdown work. Look at this. I mean, that is a sign of possession, but also it's a sign of some turnovers. Okay, so the Blues get a penalty on the 40-meter line. From there, or Teddy Black may look to put some points on. Set plays. Scrums are lost. So I think this is actually showing, guys, that that the Blues are dominating the set piece. I mean, line-out's one of those where, it obviously favours the team throwing in. But the Blues have won all of theirs, and the Chiefs have won 75% of theirs. So, the Blues have been able to steal one. And on scrums, the Chiefs lost a scrum here as well. So it's interesting. Discipline penalties conceded. Look at this, 8-2. And we were in the 29th minute, 29 minutes and 30 seconds. So I think this is a real concern again for the Blues. They were able to correct it last week. Remember, they were able to come back and correct that issue. But to see this now again 2 weeks in a row is actually a concern. Before the game, I said it was a strength of theirs that they were able to turn that around between first half and second half. But seeing it now, it actually looks like a bit of a concern to see their repeated behaviour again. Okay, Aotearoa Black, and he's missed the penalty. Is that the first miss of Super Rugby for him? So the ball's being played in predominantly in terms of possession in Blues territory. So, look, this highlights what we can see already in the game, guys, and it's that the Chiefs have got all the ball, that they're dominating the breakdown, and that the Blues are very, very competitive in set piece, but have just got some discipline issues. So we've got to keep an eye on this because the Blues need to get back to playing. Okay, pressure on the ball. Yeah. Geez, Aaron Cruden's got a good kick. Barrett puts up the up and under on attack. No problems here for McKenzie. Okay, Chiefs are going to run from their own half. Cheeky little kick in the back. Rieko Ioane's attacking. Oh, gets the break. You know what? He's played well from 13 this year. Right now, we are at 31 and 20. I'm at 31 minutes, 20 seconds right now. 7 points to 6. Oh, high ball up. Akira Ioane's got the ball. Oh, has he kept it in? No. Scrappy ball. No, it's a knock on. So the Blues got over the line, but it looked like it was knocked on a couple of seats there. They, Johnny, they pretty much, I think there were 2,000 or 3,000 seats left. When last I heard, that was last night. But with the forecast of rain, I'm surprised to see so many people there right now. Yeah, Boktube, it's been a good game so far. It's raining, so that's meant there aren't as many points going on right now. But it's just slowing them down a little bit. But it's still a good game. It's a bit of an arm wrestle. I mean, it's a real concern for the Blues to see all the possession with the Chiefs, and for them to have discipline issues as a result, as well as is something they need to correct. Okay, it's a good crowd. Super Rugby Aotearoa returning here to the drop. I think it's 25,000 stadium. They sold 23,000 tickets. So, I mean, looking at the crowd, there's not many empty seats there despite the rain. Matt Duffy is playing, so he's on the bench for the Blues. Okay, the Chiefs attacking from their own 22. Oh, knocked on. Game's okay. It's a bit scrappy because it's raining, Boktube. So we're just seeing a few handling errors. There's a few penalties being given away at the breakdown as well. So it's kind of slowing the game. Those two things are slowing the game down just a little bit. We've got a Chiefs fan. Welcome, brother. Turnovers conceded. So the the Blues have conceded 9 turnovers. Handling errors. Blues lineup's looking good. 2 cent must be in a poncho. Right, he's going to need more than a poncho with that weather. Slippery ball, probably Butterfingers, I think. I mean, they should be just playing a little bit tighter, both teams. But they're still quite willing to throw the ball around, even though it's scrappy and wet and greasy. So let's see. Maybe they'll pull it back a little bit. Well, it looks like the weather's clearing up, actually, they're saying. Went from bucketing down to no rain right now. So hopefully we see the passes start to stick and we see a bit more attacking stuff because, you know, this had the billing of being quite a good attacking game. All right, so Tutu off the back of the scrum on the Chiefs 22. Okay, they're holding him up. Both sheer strong. All right, the Blues have got it inside the Chiefs 22, so let's see what they can do with it now. Score's right here, bro. I'll keep the score right here if you can see that. It's 7-6 to the Blues. Caleb Clark's left wing, Mark Talia right wing. Yep, that's right. But both have got quite high work rates. I've seen Mark Talia pop up on the left wing from time to time or be sort of just inside the centre. Yeah, I agree, Bokchub. I think the Blues can win this game. Oh, it's a risky kick. It was a terrible kick. So they went for a little cross-field kick, but there were 3 defenders standing there, so he pretty much kicked it right into the hands of the defender on the other side of the field, who was able to make the break. But the ref was already playing advantage there to the Blues, so they'll play. Yep, Cruden's playing, bro, and playing well too. I thought last week they really improved when he came on the field, so it's good to see him there. And yeah, Cruden playing well, able to sort of run them around the park a little bit better. All right, yeah, penalty given. So they'll take the Aotearoa Blacks 20 metres out, right out in front. So Tutu's playing, yep, and he's playing well too. So Aotearoa Black takes the 3, Blues score another 3. You know what's telling about that is Chiefs had all the possession, they had all the penalties, they had chances in both attack there, and the Blues are able to come into Chiefs territory pretty quickly and put points on the board. So I like that. I like to see that. Sam Cane's not playing today, so Brad Weber is captain today for the Chiefs. Yeah, Blues just able to keep it ticking over here. Okay, so here's a stat that they've just pulled up that Beauden Barrett's with the ball, pumps it downfield. So Blues have won 80% of their games this year, 4 out of 5, where they lead at halftime. They look like they're going to go into a lead here at halftime. Yeah, Jordan for sure. They've had all the attack. They've had all of the attack, so they really needed to put some. Reiko's playing very, very well there from 13. Hoskins Satutu scored. Nippon. Satutu is the man. Sam Cane's injured. Yeah, that's right. He's injured at the moment, so this looks like it's the battle of the loose forward trio from the Chiefs against the attacking backline of the Blues. Yep. I'll say a cheers to the Hug Warriors. It's going to be an interesting change as we see, how Super Rugby will change, who stays here. It's going to be very interesting which teams emerge out of this lockdown and the new tournaments that they set up. Yeah, Johnny, on that, did he build a house in Topiti? I didn't know that. Sam Cane has got a house in Topiti. Spent a lot of time in Topiti by the Bonga there. Okay, yellow card there. Yellow card. Dalton Papali'i got a yellow card, so that puts the Blues under some pressure. No Espanol, sorry, brother. No hablo español. Discipline for the Blues. They're now down to halftime, 10 points to 6 at halftime. Chiefs have got a penalty right up front, so they should go in 10 points to 9. Look, the Blues have really got to make some adjustments here. They're, that's probably a poor half from them overall. So to go in with a lead, given a poor half, I think is good. But they need to correct these penalties. They're getting absolutely smashed at the breakdown. Yeah, Blues got a yellow card, so it's was that Dalton Papali'i got the yellow card. So, all right, we're at half time now, guys. The Chiefs just scored a penalty, so it is 10 points to 9. to 9 to the Blues. So the Blues will be happy with that, very happy with that. But, they'll be happy to have a lead, not happy with their performance. I think they can definitely do better. Giving away far too many penalties. The Hug Warriors love wing. The Hug Warriors love attack, man. There's one thing that always stood out for me about the Hug Warriors is, their attacking ability was always pretty good, particularly their wingers. All right, so let me just give a summary of that half, guys, what I thought. So probably it's interesting that the Blues actually came away with the lead because partway through that half, we looked at the stats and you could see very clearly all the possession was with the Chiefs and all of the discipline issues, or in terms of the penalty count, was also with the Chiefs. The Blues conceded far too many penalties. They did the exact same last week in that at halftime it was 9 penalties to 3 against the Blues. And in this one, let's have a look. Let's check the match stats. Penalties for and against. Discipline. Penalties conceded 10 to 3. So they've actually gone worse this week than they did last week. That's a real concerning stat for and let me bring this up so you can all see it. That's a real concerning stat here for the Blues. Right? They've conceded 10 penalties to the 3 penalties here for the Chiefs. So that's something they have to correct. They were able to do it last week, but to see that now 2 weeks in a row has got to be a concern for Leon McDonald and the Blues. I think the biggest reason for that, though, is the breakdown contest. So at the moment, Lachlan Boshier and Luke Jacobson are having an absolute field day there in the breakdown contest, and they're certainly getting a lot of pressure on the Blues. For that reason, the Blues are conceding penalties. So that aside, though, if we come up here, the set plays, the Blues are looking very, very good, right? So they've been able to steal a couple of lineouts. They've been able to win 1 scrum against the score. Cobus is 10 points Blues, 9 points Chiefs. But the Blues here have been very competitive in the set piece. As I said, they've been able to steal a couple of lineouts, two lineouts lost here to the Chiefs. They've been able to win 1 scrum against the head as well. So the Blues, from a platform perspective, are playing really well. Their defense as well in the forwards has been pretty good, in particularly their maul defense or defense off the lineout. So all good, Jason. Thanks for stopping by, bro. So they've really got to correct that issue, right? They've really got to correct this issue of conceding too many penalties and discipline, and try and build on this. They've got some really, really good set play going on here. They've also got really, really good attacking play here. When they do have the ball in hand, they look the more likely to break the line. So I don't know, whatever Liam McDonald did last week to correct it for the Blues, he needs to do it again this week and it's going to be a little bit harder because they're away from home. I, at this stage, am still predicting the Blues to win. I said the Blues would win before the game started. It is close, and they are away from home, so that is certainly in the favor of the Chiefs. But let's see if they can correct this penalty count in particular. They will win the game. I think this game's as simple as that, to be honest, guys. If the Blues can get back on parity in the penalty count, then they will win this game. If they can't, then they might lose. Johan, welcome from Bulls country, bro. Welcome along. So, Johan, let me ask you, the Blue Bulls, does that mean you're supporting the Blues today? Here's the Hoskins Sotutu try. So, strong, just straight out the back of the ruck, charged over, 1 meter out, hard to stop from there. He's looking the goods, Hoskins Sotutu. I think he's looking like an All Blacks number 8 to me. What do you guys think? Is he ready for the step up? As for Johnny, Leon McDonald will be giving the boys a mouthful. DC must be having a game next week. Well, they've got to do something, man, because they're just getting dominated here at the breakdown. I don't know what the turnaround was last week, but last week it was 9 penalties to 3. The Blues had conceded 9 to 3 for the Hurricanes. They were losing the penalty count in the first half. In the second half, it came back to 11-11. So it was a complete turnaround from both the ref and the team. So I just wonder if we're going to see a similar kind of whatever Leon McDonald did last week, he's got to do it again if the Blues want to win this game. Otherwise, this factor of home crowd advantage for the Chiefs, the way Cruden is keeping them around the track, I think the Chiefs will be hard to lose if they continue to get the rub of the ref and the penalty count. Boktube likes Sotutu, I agree. That's the other thing they have to overcome. They've still got a yellow card. And they've got a guy who's still got 9.5 minutes to serve on that yellow card. So that could be quite a telling thing, to give away a yellow card just before halftime, still have to play, that 9.5 minute period in the second half with a yellow card. That could be quite telling for the Blues. I hope we see this game open up a little bit, though, because I'd like to see, a bit more action going on here. So stats for Hoskins Sotutu: 8 tackles, 5 runs, about 50 meters gained. That's pretty good stats, actually. Look, he's a good player. Yeah. Johnny, he's the goods, I agree. I think Sotutu is going to make the All Blacks this year. It'll be interesting to see if the All Blacks probably will play the Wallabies this year. I mean, given the way the borders are at the moment, the COVID situation, they really should be looking for games against the Wallabies and games against, some of the island nations as well. I think that would be good for everyone to see a little mini tournament. Let's say, what do you guys think of that? 4 or 5 team mini tournament. Wallabies, All Blacks, Tonga, Fiji, Samoa. I think I'd like to see that. Given the COVID situation, that's probably the most likely. And be a good chance for everyone to get a bit of international rugby back as well. What else is going on? Great so far from the Blues, Martin. Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good that they've got a lead. That's really, really good, considering they didn't have much of the possession and considering they gave away far too many penalties. I thought their set piece has been, and I've already said this, but their set piece has been great. And I think that's a big part of why they are competing so hard and in the lead. I mean, that to me, that right there is probably the most surprising number. That given that first half, that the Blues actually have a lead. I think that's the most interesting number of all the stats that we've just looked at. I mean, it's all the Chiefs when you look at stats. So let's see. I just wonder what's going on in the sheds. I mean, last week it was, whatever the turnaround was, they're going to need this again because 10-3 penalty count is terrible. We haven't seen. I mean, of all the backs in the Blues last week, they all had great games, but I thought Reko Ioane was probably the most dangerous of them. In the Chiefs side, though, you had threats all over the park. So you had Damian McKenzie; he was a threat. You had Quinn Tupaia, a few breaks from Sean Wainui there as well. Sotutu's playing number 8, bro, to the Hori Tamihana. Kia ora, brother. Welcome along. Johnny, I thought that was a great quote from Eddie Jones, where he said, the development, the academies. He said the academies. New Zealand's got the 3 best academies in the world: Fiji, Samoa, and Tonga. I thought that was pretty funny. I think England's got the best academies in the world at the moment, given a lot of the island players are going north. And if anything, I think Fiji is probably you've probably got France, who have Fiji as their academy. They've certainly got some Fijian players, quite a lot of Fijian players popping up in France now. They're also being serviced by South Africans as well, in the north. A lot of South Africans playing in Ireland, England, in France, in Scotland. They're playing all over. So, it's easy to criticize the way things are, but all of the bigger teams are there you go, France have an academy in Fiji. I agree, bro, there. It just seems like a steady stream of players, Fijian players learning French and playing for France at the moment. So I think the criticism will stop for New Zealand rugby soon, because most of the other bigger teams around the world are all taking players from the island nations, except South Africa. So let's see how this plays out now. I mean, what do you guys think? This stage of the game, halftime, given all you've seen, Blues ahead 10 points to 9, well behind in the penalty count, yellow card still to play out another 9.5 minutes. Who do you think wins this game? For me, I'm keeping my prediction. I still think the Blues will win this. I think last week they were able to turn around the penalty count. They'll need to do that again this week. Their set piece looks the best. They look dangerous in the back line. If they can fix up the penalties, they'll win this game. All right, Don is back. Don.
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming back. All right. We had a little issue with the stream, and that I think I was 10 minutes behind. So
yes. I read through there and I thought, geez, 10 minutes. I missed 10 minutes.
But saw enough of the game, I think, to have an opinion. So quickly, what did you think of the game so far? Where do you think are the key areas for both teams?
I think the Blues have to deal with their discipline big time. Absolutely big time. 10 penalties and a half is it's absolutely atrocious. Sorry, I was going to put my light on here.
Yep. Do you think part of that is the pressure that's coming on from the loose forward trio of the Chiefs?
Actually, no. Some of those penalties at the breakdown were exactly for the same as last week. Going off your feet, coming in from the side. That's pure discipline. Going for the ball twice, that Papali yellow card. So I'd say half of them were at least pure discipline issues. And I didn't realize the weather was going to be that bad. So obviously it's not going to be a high-scoring game. I was wrong.
Well, it's interesting. They said it passed through, so it's not clear skies, but the rain stopped. So we might see a little bit more. I mean, you're still going to have a greasy ball, but we might see a little bit more of the ball in flight, which would be good, because it certainly slowed the game down a little bit, having it greasy like that.
A lot, but I think for a sign of at the end of the day, a sign of a good side, or a sign that's a team that's on the up, is even when you're really well down on the penalty count and you don't seem to have the possession and you don't seem to have the territory and still be ahead in the scoreboard. Well, that is a sign of a good side.
That was pretty much my summary of the match. We went through all the match stats, and you could clearly see the Chiefs had all the possession. You could see that they were that they held all the territory as well for most of that half. But the set piece was being dominated by the Blues. That was good to see. And the most telling stat of all of that, the scoreboard. Blues still ahead. So they've still got to overcome this yellow card. So if they can get through this first 10 minutes, and if they can improve the penalty count in that first 10 minutes, I think they're going to be. I'm still predicting the Blues to win. What do you think after that half?
I'd like to see how they start this next 10 minutes. I think the next 10 minutes is going to decide this game. I reckon. I think if the Chiefs run away with 10 points in the yellow card period, then it's going to be really difficult for the Blues to bounce back from that. But I think if they can go through it with just maybe a penalty, or maybe even going a penalty ahead in that 10 minutes, then I think the Blues will take it. But I still got my money's on the Chiefs. I think But Ricky Ioane, I forgot how fast he is.
Oh. Once he gets one step just over the advantage line, he's got a real kick.
Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Has the game started there on your side?
Yep, game's on. So 41 minutes we're in.
Great.
Who are the players that have stood out for you in the first half?
The number 8 for the Blues again. That try was sublime. Yes, I think he had 1 or 2 penalties against him. The number 10 hasn't really been in the game. Not by a long shot. No one's really stood out. One thing I can say is that who's the Canadian player that plays for the Chiefs?
Tyler
Adron. They're missing him. They are missing him in the lineup.
Yeah.
I think they really are missing him, and it's one thing that with their lineup being such a weapon, I think they are missing him. But no one's really stood out, for want of a better word.
I think we identified that as part of the pre-game preview as well, that the Chiefs locks looked a little bit inexperienced and they may struggle there. So we've definitely seen that play out at line-out time. The Blues now have got an attacking, they're in the Chiefs half with the scrum. So yeah, I think you're right. If the Blues can hold their nerve this 10 minutes and possibly put some points on, they might have the goods to run away with this.
I think so too.
But they've got to correct the discipline issues.
If they carry on with the same discipline issues, the ref's going to hand out yellow cards a lot quicker than 10 penalties.
Okay, we're 2.5 minutes into the second half, and we're seeing there's probably a few handling errors early as well. So
which is to be expected, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to be expected.
Yeah, I think I'm going to watch it on my big screen.
Well, thanks for stopping in.
I'll check. Okay, it's okay if I pop in after the game and we can
whatever you want, Don. No problem.
I'm actually really enjoying this.
Good. Talk soon.
Yes.
All right, guys, I'm going to leave you for a second. I'm going to turn the sound up, and then I'm going to go and get a beer. I'll be back in a second.
First half, Blues not committing too many. While they wait and see where the force is coming from. It goes back to Weber. He puts it like Talia, waiting for it. Gets airborne. Oh, he's taking it well. Under pressure from Pruden. Jacobson trying to get over the ball, but it's there. Now maybe a chance for the Blues to split it. Chance taken by the defense.
All right, back. All right, let's see what's going on here. So the Blues have got the ball. Blues have got the ball and are attacking, putting an attack and kick into the Chiefs half. All right, guys, what I want you to also let me know is tell me who you think is standing out. I'm going to go back to this just so you can see it. But we do have a little MVP thing going on. So after every single game, I'm going to allocate 3 points to 3 different players, who we think is standing out. So 3 points for the best performer, 2 points for the next best, and 1 point for the third best performer. At the end of it, we'll collate that, keep that into a leaderboard, and then we'll choose the MVP at the end of the season. So your input in the chat will help with this, guys. Tell me who you think is standing out. Let's select the player of the match at the end of this game. And I might even reach out to the player at the end as well, and let's do a little Hucker Time Awards at the very, very end of the Super Rugby. I'll reach out to the teams and see if they want to accept their MVP trophy at the end. So make sure you guys have a say in that. Let me know who you think is standing out. So far, top player for me is Hoskins Satutu, the number 8. I'd have to say Patrick Tuipulotu as well, because their line-out is dominating at the moment. For me, I'd be going Satutu, I would be going Tuipulotu, and I would be going Rieko Ioane as well. Satutu is becoming a line-out weapon as well. I mean, he just won the line-out there for the Blues. Oh, good defense, Caleb Clark. Oh, geez, it was the ball went through. Caleb Clark chased, managed to grab the player who was, I think it was Sean Stevenson there. So the Chiefs now are They're on their own 22, under a bit of pressure defensively here. Nice work. Look, the Chiefs have come, and the Blues have come out aggressively here. We're 46 minutes in, 46:03 for those following along. But the Blues are putting all sorts of pressure on the Chiefs right now in their defense. They've got the second phase attack going, actually. Caleb Clark's got the ball on the 40-meter line of the Chiefs. The terrible tactical kick there from Bowden Barrett. Oh, poor pass here. So Sean Wainui threw a poor pass over the head of Damian McKenzie. The Chiefs now under pressure in their own 22. And they're clearing out of their own 22. Good clearance kick there from McKenzie. They're going to take the quick play. So 2 minutes left on the yellow card. So Dalton Papiali's warming up by the looks of it. No, he's still sitting, getting ready to come in. But the Blues have done well in this period. That's right, Johan. Their line-out is their primary weapon. I think I was just saying so far, looking at who's standing out in terms of players of the match, Satutu is looking very good, and he's also been a line-out option there for the Blues. Tuipulotu, exactly, Johnny Blaze. Tuipulotu is looking good. Look, I think Big Paddy's so far, you'd be hard-pressed to leave him out as a starting option for the All Blacks. I think he's got everything you need. So the Blues hot on attack in the Chiefs half, putting the tactical kick in. Yeah, I don't really like that option. So Barrett chipped it in from about his 30-meter into the Chiefs' 10 meters. They could have just peppered the defensive line a little bit longer, I thought, there. They were just starting to put them under pressure. All of them, Jordan. He's smoking all of them, bro. The thing that's standing out most to me about Satutu, I mean, the Blues turned over the line out there too in attack. With Satutu, he, the obvious stuff. Great with ball in hand, physical in defense, strong in the breakdown. But he's also a very good line-out option. We've just seen it here today. He's had 4 or 5 line-outs. The Blues Goodhue just pinched that one, but unfortunately they knocked it on the 5-meter line. The coaches are not happy with the line-out from the Chiefs coaching box. The Chiefs are under all sorts of pressure at the moment. I think the Blues, once they get Papali'i back, they're going to be hard to contain. For sure, bro. Johnny Blaze, I agree with you, man. Some of these young forwards in the north, you need a couple of young guys to go up against them. What have you guys made of the performance of Akira Ioane? Weber kicks out of trouble, so Chiefs defended well there. So the Blues will have the line out on the 40-meter line. Look, it looks like the yellow card period is over now as well, so they can get Dalton Papiali'i back. So it looks like the Blues will be back to 15. They've done very well in the first part of this first half to actually be the most dominant team. One man down, and all of that first 10 minutes was with the Blues. So I think the Blues are looking real good right now. I think with 15 back on the track, looks like they're able to rectify some of the discipline issues as well. And they've got attacking opportunities here against the Chiefs in their own half. So Patrick Tuipulotu wins the line out. Oh, ball just behind Mark Talia. Beats first man. Talia's away. Tackled on the 22-meter line. Go to the other wing. Straight up to Caleb Clark, bro. Straight up to the other side. Satutu's is he gonna kick it? Satutu. He's inside the 22 now for the Chiefs. Yeah, Blues are looking real good here at the moment. They're just rumbling it up the midfield here in the forwards on the 22, on the Chiefs 22. Barrett's got the ball, steps, gets tackled on the 22. Yeah, big improvements at the breakdown here and big improvements in the penalty count so far for the Blues. Bro, the pink here, I just don't get it, eh? So Blues still hot on attack on the 22 here. They're not getting over the advantage line here, so the Chiefs defense is holding up. Tuanga Fussy gets pumped back there. Now here comes the attack on the breakdown. Looks like turnover. Oh, penalty Blues. In from the side. Lachlan Boshier gives away the penalty there. So we're now at 51 minutes 28, 51-28. All the attacking work is with the Blues. The Blues have a penalty now. I mean, to the credit of the Chiefs, their defense is holding up. Defense is definitely holding up here. But they need to swing the momentum. I mean, all the momentum here is with the Blues in the first half. Sorry, the first part of the second half. Aotearoa Black is taking the 3. Boshier just gives away a penalty. Look, I thought before the Dennis Rodman, right? This is the problem. Everyone's been watching The Last Dance, so now that's why they've all come out of lockdown with pink hair. So Aotearoa Black taking the kick pretty much out in front. I think he is here as well. So the Blues just ticking the scoreboard over. They're playing very, very smart here. All right, so far in the comments, you guys are calling out Satutu and Tuipolotu. All right, another 3 for the Blues. Are there any other players that are standing out to you? Right, that's a huge penalty. 13 points to 9 at 53 minutes, 18 seconds. Looks like the penalty count now is reversing as well. Let's check some of these stats. So it's evening up. It hasn't evened up yet, but it was 10 penalties conceded by the Blues at halftime, 3 to the Chiefs. The rain stopped, bro. So the Hori, it was pissing down before, but now the rain's held off. But the ball's still a bit wet. There's a few handling errors to start off. Yeah, the ref's just favouring the attacking side with the advantage. It just seems like he's constantly going. Okay, advantage is over now. Chiefs have got the ball on the Blues 40-metre line. Defense is good from the Blues. Oh, another penalty. So he's actually, that looked like just lazy work in the breakdown. I think we might see Ofa Tuanga Fussy subbed off soon because there's just a bit of lazy work going on at the breakdown. Tuanga Fussy laying there just a little bit longer. Some of these guys are starting to get tired. I mean, Tuanga Fussy 55 minutes in for a prop. I think we probably need to see some changes now here for the forwards, especially for the Blues. Just think they're starting to get a little bit lazy in the breakdown, and they were coming back as far as that breakdown penalty count is concerned. So here's the replay of the penalty. Tuanga Fussy goes down. How do you get out of there? Yeah, interesting. That's probably That penalty against Tuanafasi is probably the best example of how the new rules are being policed. If you're not getting out of the breakdown very quickly, and it wasn't easy for him to get out of that, but all the responsibility is with the tackler to get out of the breakdown. If they don't make a big effort, then the ref's going to penalise them. And that was a prime example of it there. I actually think some of these players are starting to get a bit tired, and Liam McDonald, and as a result of that, are starting to get a little bit lazy at the breakdown. And Liam McDonald should be looking at bringing some changes soon. All right, Mackenzie's got a kick for goal here, 40 metres out, and he's got it. Chiefs go up from 9 points to 12. (13-12) to the Blues at 56-28 right now. Okay, Scotty Stevenson is off. Alaimalo is on. Look, I think the Blues need to make some changes. First try was scored by Hoskins Satutu for the Blues, Vernon. It's one thing that stood out for the Chiefs here is their ability to kick. Clearance kicks from their own yardage has been really good. Oh, handling error, Aotearoa Black. Sorry, Bowden Barrett putting it down there, first receiver. No, it was Black. The commentator said Barrett, but no, it was Aotearoa Black. Josh, Dan Carter is not playing, no. Tana Umanga with the speech. Let's hear what he's got to say.
What's the key to getting your team home in the last 20 minutes?
Oh, I think it's for us. It's obviously adjusting to the referee's interpretations at the breakdown and around the game. We're giving away too many penalties, which is keeping them in the game, and it's just it's just tough for us. We're always on the back foot. So once we can get on top of that, because I think we're playing well. We just can't seem to get enough ball.
You guys are playing well. One thing that's evident is the
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but he's saying that they're giving away too many penalties. Tana Umanga is saying they're giving away too many penalties.
This week with the rugby, us backs up. We don't like this, so it slows down all the skill level and makes the opportunity for some tough collisions available tonight. So I think the big boys are doing that. Yet I think both sides are just negating each other by just going nowhere at the moment. So again, it's just making sure that we play the right parts of the field.
Well, thanks very much for your thoughts there, Tana.
So yeah, Tana's basically saying he's happy overall with how they're playing. The only thing that they need to correct is the interpretation from the ref at the breakdown to try and get the penalty count correct. And that's pretty much what we've said. Johnny plays DC's driving around a Ferrari. I believe it, bro. He's getting the. I read that he was getting paid something like $2 million a year in Japan. They called the season off. He comes back to play for the Blues, and with the Blues, he's getting like $1,800 a week or something. I think he's on the wage subsidy now because he's getting that. He's gone from $2 million a year to the wage subsidy. But he did say it's a give back. He's giving back to New Zealand rugby, so that's pretty cool. These guys, it's good to see some of the old players come back and do that. It used to be standard practice that some of the older All Blacks would come back and would give back to New Zealand rugby. So good to see that coming back now again. Brother Alif, who's the man of the match? So far for me, bro, it's Hoskins Satutu. My top three: Hoskins Satutu, Patrick Tuipulotu, and then probably Reiko Ioane. But I must be honest, outside of the first two, there's not too many standing out. Lachlan Boshier has got to come into contention as well because a lot of the penalty count turnovers is coming from him. Hello from Wales. Welcome, bro. Taf Makumbe. Welcome, bro. All right, the Blues, it is 60 minutes 21. Blues have got the ball, knocked it on. Too many penalties. It's true, bro. Yeah, there have been too many penalties. I'll agree with that. But I don't think it's a ball fest just yet. This game's a little bit slow, but last 2 weeks were pretty good. I actually think the reason this game is slow is because of the rain. It's handling errors, and I've got to say the discipline's been an issue for the Blues. Okay, they've subbed Tuanafasi. I said that 4 minutes ago. They needed to sub him off. So Leon McDonald must be watching the stream. Martin wants the Blues to win. Me too, bro. I think. I picked the Blues both at the start of the game and at halftime. I still think they can do it. They're just too many handling errors. Haven't quite corrected the penalty count yet. Johnny Blaze, I'll tell you, bro, there's nothing wrong with Super Rugby, believe me. I think it's the I don't think the words that we're hearing are matching the actions. People are enjoying it. Oh. And if we get a few more dry games, I think you'll continue to see some of this good attacking rugby. Penalties to the Blues. Luke Jacobson and Hoskins Satutu with a little push and shove there. I reckon Luke Jacobson is looking at Satutu and just thinking, my All Black spot could be under pressure here. I think that's a bit of frustration there creeping in. I mean, they're both okay. So yeah, that's poor actually. So what happened there? Satutu's in at the breakdown. Luke Jacobson comes in from the side to hit Satutu. Then they have a little push and shove at the end. This is at the 62-minute mark. So I look at that as a bit of frustration. Maybe he's concerned that Satutu's playing too well. Maybe he thinks that. Oh, look at this. We've got a beer delivery. Thank you very much. Okay, see ya. How's that for training? Beer delivery. What was I saying? Yeah, it looked like a bit of frustration there from Luke Jacobson in that he just went straight into the side to hit Satutu. So, look, Satutu's playing well. I think Jacobson's probably feeling a bit under pressure. That's what that looked like. It just looked like a bit of frustration to me. That's probably acknowledgement that he's playing really well. What else are we saying in the Chiefs got this? Taf Makumbi. Let's see, bro. I think it's going to be a close finish. Xavier asked, what's the Chiefs like? Look, they've been both teams have had handling errors. There's been a lot of penalties in this game. I think the Blues look like the better team, but all of the possession in the first half was with the Chiefs. So, it's a bit of a surprise that the Blues came out with the lead at halftime. Don't let the penalties keep you off, Martin says. Look, it's early days in Super Rugby. The first week, you've got to remember, week 1 was incredible. Both games were incredible. Now, week 2, okay, the Blues are attacking. Caleb Clark's got the ball in 22, attacking into the Chiefs 22. With this game, I mean, there's a bit of rain, and now the Blues have got the penalty inside the Chiefs 22, and they're attacking, so they've still got the penalty advantage here. So, yeah, I think it's too early to be saying if Beauden Barrett with the drop goal. Really? Don't like that. So standing right out in front of the 22, they have the Chiefs on the ropes with the ball in hand, and Barrett takes a drop goal. I want to talk about this because I'm not a fan of that option, to be honest, at all. Not a fan of that. Let me explain to you why I don't think that was a good option from Beauden Barrett. They had a penalty advantage, so they had an opportunity to take the 3 at any point in time. They had the ball in hand, and they had the Chiefs under extreme pressure then. Broke the line a couple of times. Caleb Clark got a break. First possession in the 22, they go straight up to Barrett for a field goal. You already had the penalty advantage and could have taken the kick. with a bit more of an attacking set. So I don't like that option from Barrett to take that drop goal. Yes, it puts points on the board, but they had the penalty advantage already, so they could have taken it. They could have just attacked that line a little bit longer. And I just wonder if that's what we're going to see start to creep in from some of these New Zealand teams, is as we're moving more towards taking drop goals, they need to be smart, tactical drop goals, not just shoot when you get first opportunity because you want to put points on the board. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that one at all. But in saying that, the Blues edge ahead a little bit further now, 16-12. So, Martin says very tight game. Agree, bro. Cool Coyote says forward, possible, but you'll find in New Zealand Super Rugby, there's a bit more leniency on forward passes, so that's all good. We don't mind it. Luke Jacobson needs to be petty towards Sam Cane, not Hoskins Tutu. Yeah, Johnny, I have unpopular opinions on Sam Cane, and I was concerned when they named him as All Black captain. I mean, they're clearly rewarding how long he's been in the squad and how long he's been groomed to become captain, as opposed to who I think was probably best man for the job. All right, Blues got the ball. They got the turnover there. Cool Coyote says, so far, so Tutu and McKenzie look good. Tuipu looked great. A try is imminent, and Barrett goes droppy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. They had the Chiefs on the ropes. This is my point about why that option from Barrett was poor. They had the Chiefs on the ropes. The defense was stretched. They'd just made a break. The defense was actually trailing back into position. They've just gotten into 22 of the Chiefs. They had a penalty advantage. And it's basically a momentum killer. Right at that point in time, all of the momentum is going towards the try line. You stop and pop three. I just think it's a really poor option. You could have been a little bit more expansive on attack. And if you don't make the break, or if you make a mistake, you've got the penalty up your sleeve to take three. But instead, Barrett takes the droppy. With that being said, the Blues are on attack again in the Chiefs 22. So look, I just feel like right now at this point in the game, the Blues are starting to get on top. So the penalty count is starting to correct itself. Let's see what the penalty count is now. Let's jump over here. So let's look at the possessional stats. They are starting to get a little bit closer. In fact, possession now favors the Blues. The Blues just won a turnover. Looks like, they've got their ball. What is Barrett doing? Barrett tries to chip through the Chiefs line, straight into a Chiefs player. Luckily, they had the penalty advantage already. So possession's in favor of the Blues. What we're looking for here is the penalties conceded. They went into halftime at 10 penalties conceded by the Blues, 3 conceded by the Chiefs. Now it's starting to even up 11-7. 67 minutes and 30 seconds, and the ref is talking to Aaron Cruden right now, saying too many penalties. So the Chiefs are under pressure at the moment. Yeah, Cool Coyote, I agree. I think Barrett just looks a little bit off the pace. And now Barrett's taking the penalty kick. Jeez, yeah. I mean, I am a huge Beauden Barrett fan. Huge Beauden Barrett fan. But anytime he lines up for a kick, you're just a little bit, do we really want that, Bodie? Do we want you taking kicks at goal, bro? Vernon hates drop goal rugby. Look, it's not something we've seen in New Zealand rugby too often, to be honest. But the last couple of weeks in particular, we're seeing it a lot more. So, look, I think you've got to have a drop goal in the bag because I do think it's such a strong weapon. But it's a great example right then with Beauden Barrett's drop goal of when not to take a drop goal, in my opinion. Because you've got all of I've said it a couple of times already, you've got all the possession, you've got a penalty advantage, you've just broken the line, you're attacking in the 22, the defense is stretched, and you stop and take a drop goal. Oh, don't remind me of that hucker face smirk, Johnny Blaze. That hucker face smirk. It's got to be one of the lasting memories from the Rugby World Cup for me, is Owen Farrell's hucker face smirk. All right, so we are 69 minutes in. It's 19 points to 12. I need to update the score. All right. So the Blues now up to a 7-point lead, which is good for them. Cruden just about sneaks through. He's on his own halfway. Question on Golden Point. Yes, the option is there for Golden Point. I don't think it'll go to Golden Point. I just think the Blues are on top here. The Blues could even pull away a little bit further, I think. So, look, if the Chiefs want to come back, I think one thing that neither of these teams is doing very, very well is neither of them are playing the tactical positioning game. They're all running. They're all just running, trying to milk a penalty. And then it's sort of penalties leading to progress up the field. What I'd like to see is a bit more tactical kicking. And that's been something that stood out for me so far, is there's been no exploiting space behind, no looking for the corner, no putting the up and under to contest the kick. I just think this is perfect conditions for that kind of rugby. And these teams just aren't taking that option. So it makes me wonder why. All right, Blues have got the line out on halfway at 70 minutes and 35 seconds. Martin's confident the Blues are going to get home. Well, you're definitely in the right position on the game, bro. NK, so we're... Oh, Caleb Clark's on the attack. Caleb Clark. Okay, he's on the... Okay, Tuipolo's got the ball inside the 22. All the attacking is here with the Blues. Let's hope Barrett doesn't take a drop goal. Ball gets up to the wings. Mark Talia's got it. So we are about 15 meters away from the Chiefs line. The Blues hot on attack. Barrett's got the ball at first receiver. I think we've seen Barrett and Tuipolotu offloads. Tom Christie's in. Oh, ball on the outside. Mark Talia's in. Try Mark Talia. Blues looking real good. Try time Mark Talia. See, this is my point, right? It was exactly that situation earlier. The Blues were hot on attack in the 22, and Beauden Barrett stopped to pop a drop goal. Right there shows what you should be doing with the ball, especially when you've got the penalty advantage. Attack, attack, attack. You've got it in the bag if you want to take that penalty. So a bit of razzle-dazzle there from the Blues. So we're about 10 minutes to go now, and the Blues just scored a try. Takes them out to 24 with the kick to come. Lima Sopoanga was good at tactical kicking. You know, it's just, so far when I look at Super Rugby and how it's gone, I just think that the tactical kicking play is missing a little bit from Super Rugby and Aotearoa. They've tried to creep in a little bit more with the drop goals. Johnny Blaze says, Kiwi teams lack the good tactical kick that George Ford owned. Yep, exactly right. And I call it game management on this, or generalship. It's called generalship. So it's that ability to lead a team or lead the position around the park, you know. And it's something that George Ford and Owen Farrell definitely do very well. Jordan Clark says, Bodie putting that pressure on Chiefs, who have to score tries now. 100% correct. Bodie should also not be kicking penalty goals or conversions. But he got that one in a good kick. So 24. Okay, guys, there's about 5 or 6 minutes left to go. Who's the man of the match? Who's the man of the match? 73-43 at the moment. Vernon says that Satutu lad has got All Black written all over him. What do you think? Well, there's been a bit of a consensus so far in this chat group, bro. I think the consensus is with the vacant number 8 position right now, or at least the loose forward trio being a little bit light in the All Blacks, and the way that Super Rugby has started both before lockdown and now, Hoskins Satutu is probably one of the front runners to make it, and is my opinion, and it's probably an opinion that others share at the moment. Owen Farrell. I agree, bro. That Farrell. All right, Chiefs have got the break. Out to ALB. Tackled in the Blues 22. Let's go, Chiefs. Let's go, Chiefs. All right, so everyone seems to agree Satutu is probably the leader here for man of the match. Just a reminder, guys, we do this kind of thing. We choose 3 players for best performers on the day. So let me know who you think deserves 3 points, 2 points, and 1 point. And at the end of the season, I'm going to present a trophy to the Hakatime Rugby Super Rugby Aotearoa MVP. And I'll reach out to the teams too. I'll say that we run this little MVP voting system, that this is voted by the fans, and that at the end of it, the fans want to present a trophy to the most valuable player. So Chiefs have got the ball 5 meters from the line, hot on attack through the forwards, 75 minutes, 45 seconds. Aotearoa Black is the next fly half for the ABs. Let's hear some comments around that, guys. What do you think of that comment? I'll say this on Aotearoa Black and his chances in the ABs. I think Richie Mo'unga really needs to improve his ability to perform under extreme pressure. So 2 games in the Rugby World Cup where he really struggled, went missing. And if you ask me honestly, can the All Blacks win a World Cup with Richie Mo'unga as the fly half? I think the answer is no, in my opinion. So we need another option. I don't know if Aotearoa Black is the option, but he's standing out as probably the best of the next wave of fly halves, in my opinion. All right, Blues forwards have just been a bit better. Yep. So at halftime, we said it was the platform that they were setting that was really setting the tone there, and they were winning the set piece, they were winning the collision, but they were failing at the breakdown. Now we've seen that completely turn around. They've done a little bit better on the penalty count at the breakdown, and Geordie says Satutu, Paddy Tuipulotu, Big Paddy, and someone from the Chiefs. It's a tough one. That third spot, no one's really stood out. I mean, Satutu and Paddy have stood out for me, but no one really beyond that. Oh, Johnny Blaze, I appreciate you again, man. Cheers to you, brother. Thanks so much, man. The Blues number 10 young guy. That is Aotearoa Black. I mean, he's not too young. He'd be 25, 26 now. So, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5. The next wave of fly halves or first fives coming out of New Zealand, they're all around the mid-20s, 25, 26. So it's going to be interesting where they go with this, because if you think of a 4-year cycle, 28, 29 at a Rugby World Cup, it's not too bad, but 28, 29 without a huge amount of All Blacks international experience, that's a problem. Cool Coyote says Satutu, Tuipulotu, and Aotearoa Black. Oh, Adam Thompson's comes in from the side, gives away a penalty when they're hot on attack. with 77.55 where I got on the game clock. Or Tere Black, you reckon, there for the third spot? I don't know, bro. There's no one really that stood out for me at that third spot. What is Carter doing? So he hasn't played yet. I saw him smashing the exercise bike earlier before. So I think he's going to play more of a mentor cover role. So, well, I don't even know if he'll actually play a game. What do you guys think? Do you think Dan Carter will actually play a game, or is he there to help a guy like Aotearoa Black and some of the other younger first fives, just a bit of composure? What do you guys think? Francesca, hello, welcome. Tony, not full-time yet, bro. It's 78 minutes 44 for me. First poor line-out from the Blues. Line-out ball not straight. Water boy today is Joe Marchant. He's running the water today for the Blues. Gatlin getting red. 2 weeks in a row of being red. All right, we've got to choose someone for the third spot. So I agree with both a few opinions here, but I agree with Cool Coyote. I agree with Jordan Clark that the 2 top spots go to Satutu first and to Patrick Tuipulotu second. If I was to choose a third, I might go. I thought Reiko Ioane stood out in the first half. Second half, no one really standing out. Possibly Lachlan Bashir for the Chiefs. The first half, they did get a lot of turnovers. This is a tough one. Possibly Goodhue, because the Locks have dominated for the Blues. I don't know. I don't know who I'd select as third. So the Blues just got another tight head in the scrum. 2 tight heads so far tonight. So the time is up. We're over 80 minutes, and the Chiefs are hot on attack. If you look at the score, it's 24-12. So they get a bonus point if they come within 7 points. So they are throwing everything at it. That's probably a good call, Cool Coyote. Ofatunga Fasi could be the third man. Oh, the Blues got the ball. So the Chiefs still attacking. The Chiefs want that bonus point. I agree with you, Hori. I think that's why he's there, bro. I think he's there in a mentor role. If I was to guess, I don't actually think he will play for the Blues this year. That's turnover, bro. Oh, according to the ref, that's a penalty. So the Chiefs, it's now 81 minutes, and the Chiefs still having a go. And that's it, game over. That's interesting. Commentator just said, first time since 2011 that the Blues have won in Hamilton. So well done to the Blues. They get home. It's full time now, guys. They get home 24 points to 12 and thoroughly deserved. I mean, they had all the challenge in the early start of that game. You know, they had difficult going. They came out with a halftime lead despite being 10 points to 3 in the first half on the penalty count and despite being behind on the penalties conceded, as well as, you know, it's a really, really interesting. We've got Don coming back. Thanks, Don, for jumping back in. Sort of wrapping up the game there. Before we do that, though, let me just say to everyone in the chat box, select your first 3 players. Who was first, who was second, who was third from that performance? A lot of people going with this combination of Satutu and Patrick Tuipulotu, but I'd like to hear from others. Who do you think was sort of the best performers, and who do you think takes that third spot? Because we haven't decided yet. So, Don, we said a bit of a turnaround needed in the penalty count. I think you saw it.
I admit defeat. I was completely wrong. I thought it would be a lot closer than that, but that second half was that Blues side was they were amazing, absolutely amazing.
I think you were right though when you said that that 10-minute period after the half would decide the game, and for them to not concede any points, but they had all the running in that 10 minutes as well. They were hot on attack with 14 players, still dominating set piece, and they came away with a 3 at the end of that, so they actually benefited from that period. I thought that was exactly.
I think even the try just showed the kind of confidence they're playing with, because that was end-to-end stuff. You know, they literally played from the 5 meter cross through to the other 5 meter, I think 3 times.
Yeah, 3 times.
And then scored the try. So they stretched their defense to the absolute limit, and they were bound to score eventually. Yeah, it was sublime. It was really good.
Things about having Talia on one wing and Clark on the other. They're both X-factor guys. So as soon as you get to either wing, you know, you've got a guy that can beat a player and possibly score some difficult tries. So really, really good, strong weapon from there. I want to ask you one question, though. We had a big debate on that drop goal from Barrett. And what did you think of that drop goal at that point in the game?
At that point in the game, it pushed them 4 points in the lead.
Yeah, they were up by 1. It pushed them out to 4. But in the lead up to that, they'd just broken the line. They had the Chiefs stretched. They'd broken to the 22. They had a penalty advantage. And then Barrett stops all the momentum by popping a drop goal. I sort of looked at that and thought, there's a trend towards drop goals clearly coming into New Zealand rugby, but that wasn't the right time to take one.
No, I didn't think that either. Especially risk and reward. I just think going for the corner may have been a better option at that point, or waiting for the penalty, because But at the end of the day, you know, the posts were open, the opportunity was there, and he took the point. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, maybe it just changed, put a bit more scoreboard pressure on the Chiefs. So
that's a good point.
You know, so maybe they were looking more from that kind of point of view. But I think if the opportunity's there and it was a perfect position for a drop goal, you know, you can't get a better position for a drop goal. And so in the grand scheme of things, maybe it was the right decision. But maybe they could have walked away with maybe a try as opposed to, because they did have the momentum at that point.
They had the momentum and they had the penalty advantage. I just thought, hold on a little bit longer, ask a few more questions, maybe spread to the wings a little bit longer. But like you say, coming away with points is always a good thing. It's never a bad thing. You know? So the Blues now undefeated in Super Rugby Aotearoa. The Chiefs,
top of the lot.
0 wins, 2 games.
Flipping now. The Chiefs are doing exactly what they did at the start of this, the regular Super Rugby season.
Well, that's right. Interesting game. I thought overall as well, the ref just had. We saw another game with the ref just having far too much. Well, maybe it's the players not adapting quick enough, but you know there were a lot of penalties. Another week, a lot of penalties.
Look, I think Luke Jacobson and the likes, they didn't do themselves any favors by coming in on the site so many times. I just think the difference between the two teams was, and it's exactly what you mentioned beforehand, was that Blues came out a different side after the second half. They did. They were a completely different side. The penalty count was reversed. Everything was. It was a different Blue side completely. Yep.
And I just wonder what's going on in the first half, the second half for that to turn around. Because if they can correct that first half, they're going to be hard to beat in the Super Rugby season.
Yeah.
You know, if they can just tighten up on some of those penalties, then I can't see even the Crusaders will have a tough time with this Blues team.
I think the Crusaders are probably the only team out there at the moment that can change. Well, they literally can change mid-half. But they're probably the only team that can go in at half-time and change their complete game plan. So, but the problem is the Crusaders can have a really good first half and second half. So I think if it's any year that the Blues are going to do it, it's going to be now. They've got the firepower. They've got a good 10. They've got a great 15. They've got playmakers for spades. So I think this could be the year that they could get one over on the Crusaders. But it's going to be hard. That's going to be hard. I'm so excited to see the Crusaders tomorrow, because then we really know what's going to happen.
We'll really know where teams are at too once we see the Crusaders. I mean, from what I've seen from them, all of the build-up's been pretty good. They've really put in the work there in the preseason. So, and they've got all the talent. It's going to be interesting to see how they go.
I have to say, I'm going to say it now. My MVP for the match has to be Tuipulotu, the captain for captain for the Blues. I just think he had an absolutely smashing second half. He was everywhere.
He was huge. Yeah, second half lineouts. So you say Tuipulotu best, Hoskins Sotutu, you'd say second?
Yeah, I had it a bit reversed because I just felt that second half performance, he really led from the front, and for me that was amazing. From on the Chiefs side, it's so strange. The player no real player really stood out. I made a comment to my wife while we were watching, and it's about Damian McKenzie. And before Damian McKenzie was injured, he would run from his try line. He would run. And because he had absolute space, and I just think he may be suffering from a little bit of stage fright or something like that, or
confidence,
I think his confidence has to be knocked, and it's going to probably take a little while. But he's not the same player he was before he got injured. He really, literally, he just made space.
Yeah, he just attacked the line a little bit harder too. He's just a bit more confident in his body and his abilities. And you sometimes see that from these players coming back from big injuries. They can be a bit tentative, when they're hitting the line.
That was one thing I picked up. And the other thing was I feel the Blues would have scored a hell of a lot more tries if Anton Leonard-Brown wasn't playing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think defensively he needs a bit of a shout out because that Blues attack was hot. And there were a couple of really good raids where he was just snuffing them out.
And I just think a standout player for me, not that there were many standouts, I'd say it was ALB by a long shot for me. I felt the loose trio for the Chiefs were completely outplayed.
In the end they were.
They were completely outplayed. They had sixes and sevens.
There's a bit of frustration there too. I saw it was Luke Jacobson gave one penalty away, came directly in the side and straight in at Hoskins Tutu. So it looked like he was targeting them more than actually competing at the breakdown. And that just looked like
playing the man, not the ball. And the other one, I've got to have a shout out because whenever there's a tight head in the game, you have to have a shout out to the tight head prop off of Tuangafasi, and there were two in this game. So
two in this game.
Yeah.
Here is my selection based on everyone's opinion. Here's my selections for the MVP. The 3 points goes to Tutu, 2 points to Tuipulotu. My rationale was Tutu, good first half, but also he was an attacking weapon in the line out as well. There were 3 line outs in the second half that he was the target. So good to see him have that option there as well. Tuipulotu was huge. Physically, he's just setting the tone for this Blues team, leading them forward. And as you say, any game where you get a tight head, that's a great result for a tight head. But when you get two, you have to be there. So those are the votes for this week, guys. Hoskins Sotutu, Patrick Tuipulotu, or for Tuangafasi.
I second that 100%.
Yeah. So, good game, a little bit slow. I still don't like the penalty count, though. That's still, I know a lot of them were sort of lazy, poor discipline type penalties. So, I don't know. You probably got to put some responsibility on the players there, but it's just we're not seeing the right thing yet.
I think 40% of the penalties are probably ill discipline coming in from the side, things like that. Regular kind of penalties, 40-50%, I reckon. And that can be fixed quite quickly. And then the new laws are a little bit different, but coming in from the side, it's diabolical because it happened last week, it's happened this week again.
That's just dumb. And a couple of penalties sort of at that 55, 60-minute mark where players just not rolling away quick enough. There was one off Tuangafasi he gave away. Yeah. And I pointed it out when we were watching it that is purely effort. So it looked to me at that point in time it might be time to sub him off if he's starting to lack effort at the 55-minute mark.
Exactly. I think because the new rules force you to go east to west,
that's right. They force you to go east to west.
You've got 1 second to get out, so you have to do it. You can't just roll out the back. So it was a bit of laziness, and you're absolutely right. I think he should have been subbed at that time.
Yeah. Well, about 2 minutes later, they subbed him off, so we picked that one as well. But, it's just forcing players to be a lot more responsive and a lot less lazy. And when they start to get lazy like that, you've just got to make the changes. So, I don't know, maybe we'll see a bit, stronger rotation a little bit earlier with some of these teams, given that there's a bit more onus on the breakdown work and, on putting in that effort later in the game as well. So let's see.
Look, I think we've got a few more, quite a few more weekends to come. So I think by maybe not next weekend, maybe the following weekend, we might start seeing it tapering off a little bit and them getting a little bit used to it.
Yep. Let's take a look at some of these comments. And while I'm just having a look, guys, make sure you check out Unbiased Rugby. Don does a lot of content on rugby, all types of rugby as well. So check him out on Unbiased Rugby. We regularly collaborate as well. So you'll see Don here, but it's also best to see him at his own channel. Let's see. Nice one, Blue. So a few comments here. BB will pick at the right time. Yeah, it's interesting with Beauden Barrett. He started a little bit slow, but to their credit, they haven't relied on him, which is great for the Blues.
I think it's wait till they pull the trigger on him midway through the season, and I think they just it looks like he's actually he's not that he's not trying. It's just it doesn't look like he's trying. It just seems like he's just relaxed. He's calm. I think he's.
Yeah, I think another point we forget as well, he hasn't played since the World Cup final. I mean, the last two games have been the first time since, and he had quite a long off season. He's popping up at the Super Bowl and he's popping up all over the world, And there's a big debate actually because the Blues were playing the Chiefs and he was at the Super Bowl with the Chiefs NFL top on. So, Kiwis didn't like seeing that. So, but yeah, I think he's world class, so he'll get back into there.
Big time.
Shout out to the Warriors. I'm with you, Johnny Blaze. Let's see. Aotearoa Black is an AB, you reckon? Aotearoa Black is an AB, you reckon? It's tough, man. Like he's solid without being spectacular for me.
Yeah, so, I didn't think he had such a great game today. Not like last week. Last week he was sublime. This week he was just
went missing a bit this week.
Yeah, and it's true. I want to see Richie Mo'unga play next week, and then we'll really know who's the next 10 All Black.
I'd like to see David Havili get a crack at either 15 or 10. I just think he's a world-class player.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing him next week.
I think we discussed him a few weeks ago, and I also reckon he's the perfect balance between attack, defense, and tactical, and I think he's an amazing player, absolutely amazing.
Big Will says penalty count was terrible from what I saw some other players out of blame. 100% agree. I think all the matches started this year after lockdown. They had the refs in the camps. And they had a couple of simulated runs so the refs could really walk them through the changes at the breakdown.
And there's diabolical.
Well, the key thing is it's all effort driven. All of the breakdown work right now, the laws that have changed, have all driven a behavior that players have to put in effort to get out of the breakdown. If they're not doing that, then they're getting penalised. So 100% agree. It's better discipline from the players. And we're still seeing this coming in from the side business, which is just, it's dumb.
If in all honesty, if there were no players that came in from the side, we actually wouldn't be talking about the penalty count.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's all player driven as opposed to rule and referee driven. Yep. Cameron says class game. Yeah, I think it could have been. Yeah, I think it was overall pretty good. Still an exciting watch. Bit of an arm wrestle early, and then the Blues pulled away. So good to see that.
Yeah, I think the second half was much better than the first half.
Agree. So Blues now lead Super Rugby Aotearoa. Interesting. A lot of people said it beforehand, but it was that kind of it's the Blues year this year, it's the Blues year. It was kind of that kind of banter. Now I'm not going to say the words yet because we haven't seen the Crusaders playing, but I think Blues fans can be happy. I'll put it that way.
I know. I've got a deal now watching Sir John Kerwin now the breakdown this following week. He's going to have this huge big smile on his face. Not my favourite person in the whole world, but he's going to have this huge smile.
He's a grumpy on the breakdown. He's just grumpy. He's always grumpy.
Very, very
when it comes to any conversation about world rugby, he's bloody grumpy.
Yeah. Sometimes he has some good ideas, but it's just anyone who just wants to kill Super Rugby at every single conversation is not my favourite person.
So what's the latest with Super Rugby in SA? Is there any talk about revised competitions? Is there any talk about local domestic leagues?
I think, well, the players now have just been able to start training again. So they like to train. There's still full contact sport is still banned at the moment. We're still not allowed to do it. So they're looking to maybe start in August, but it'll probably be Curry Cup kind of style games. But it looks like it was going to be with the Cheetahs and the Kings were also going to be playing, but it looks like now Pro 14 is also going to be starting in August. So yeah, I think I have a feeling that South Africa is going to be a bit behind the curve because we're 2 months behind you guys, and I think we're going to be a month behind Australia. So it's going to make a very interesting rugby championship if it ever happens.
Well, I think this year's a bit of a write-off, though. I can't see the rugby championship being played this year, and if it is, it's going to be regional as opposed to the wider games that we see. I can see New Zealand and Australia playing this year, but I can't see us playing South Africa this year, unfortunately.
No, and it's like you said at the start of the season, it's our 100th game coming up. So
yeah. Well, that's 1 months until maybe a good game to build up for the Lions series. 100.
Very good game. But I think they're probably going to push for the Northern Hemisphere tour because that's where the real money is. And I think all the countries down south are going to be real gunning for cash. What just out of the blue, just a different kind of question, completely off the topic. But what do you think of the $300 million deal for the rights to the ABs?
Big number. It's a big number. So it's double what AIG paid for a similar term.
Yeah.
So I think in the eyes of the All Blacks, they're pricing the All Blacks a little bit higher. I think I've seen talks about some potential sponsorship deals, and a lot of them who are looking into it seriously, and all this talk around some of the big investors investing in the All Blacks, they're all waiting to see how the All Blacks go.
Okay.
Because I think there's a concern that there's been a bit of a shift in the market, and will the All Blacks be up there like they were previously? I think they will, but I think there's a bit of hesitation. So I think we're not going to see that close out quickly, is my personal view. And I think they've probably overpriced it, if I'm honest with you, because of that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the start of the negotiation.
That's top end.
But I must admit, the Southern Hemisphere does need a big investor like CBC or something like that. So I think it's about time. But it's just completely off the topic. It just seemed like a lot of money.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's too high given everything considered right now. So, and I don't think they'll get any buyers off the bat. I could be wrong, but I think that's going to take a while to play itself out. Especially if the first year of the deal is games against Australia and New Zealand. It's going like, well, great, but you're probably wanting a little bit more in return for all that money behind the All Blacks in the first year.
Exactly. It's why AIG did it, an American-based company. So I think, but you could have Amazon.
Well, yeah, that's right. Will says, whack some money. Yep, take the 300. Got to find a buyer first, Will. That's the thing. You can put it in front. You got to find someone to buy it.
But Big Will, I actually don't think the money will reach that far down. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll go down to grassroots. It's
all right. Well, we've got 250. I reckon I can scratch up one, and Don can cover the other 49. We're in. No, good fun. I reckon we'll leave it there for now.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, really appreciate you stopping in, Don. Thanks a lot for that. One last shout out to everyone. Thanks everyone for joining and jumping in the comments and contributing. It's been good fun. Let's do the same again tomorrow. So make sure you come along tomorrow. Bit of banter. I'll be drinking beers and answering questions along the way. But again, make sure you check out Unbiased Rugby. Good rugby content there. And we'll leave it there. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks again, Don.
Cheers.